Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. This is Mike and this is Low Def Media. Hey, today we've got a really great comparison for you. I was looking around the office and I noticed a couple cameras that just, weren't getting a lot of love. And I said, these might be cameras that people would probably gravitate to if they were just getting into the YouTube/vlogging space. And so they would probably want to know, hey, how well would these perform if I wanted to use them as a vlogging tool? So today we are going to compare three cameras against each other to see which one would be the best option if you were going to start vlogging today at the lowest price point. Hey, but before we get into that, let's talk about the camera I'm using right now. This is the Fujifilm X-S10. Now, the reason why I'm starting off with this camera is because I want to create a baseline. I've got it set at 1080, 30 frames a second, internal audio, so that we have, now this is a much more expensive camera than the ones we're going to compare, so you can now get a baseline of what a high-end camera can and will look like as compared to these more entry-level cameras. So what cameras are they, you ask? They are, number one, the Kindle Fire 10-inch 11th generation. I know, I can hear you already. But you'll be pleasantly surprised, I think. A lot of people have Kindle Fires and they're very similar to an iPad in a lot of ways. Now granted, this particular one I got it on Prime Day for $79 and they retail for about $149. So yeah, it's a much lower price point, but there are some things to like and we'll see that one in a minute. It's going to be compared against the Akaso Brave 7 LE. Now that camera got a lot of attention on YouTube. A lot of folks reviewed it. Great action cam, but let's see what it would look like in a vlogging scenario. And then lastly, we're going to use an old but reliable, true, steady, whatever you want to use, Fujifilm XP90. It is an action cam before action cams were popular. I've had this camera for at least 5 years, and so it shoots 1080p, 30 frames a second. I also set up the Akaso Brave to do the same thing, and the Kindle Fire only shoots at 720, but it's at 30 frames a second as well. So we're going to compare all three, and we're going to see just, which one is going to be the best bang for your buck. Like I mentioned, the Kindle Fire comes in at $149, but you can find it cheaper. The Akaso Brave is under $150 now, and the Fujifilm XP90 used is under $100, but if you buy new, it's closer to $200. So it's still the most expensive out of the three cameras. So without any further ado, let's roll into the sample footage. Okay, so this is the image coming out of the Kindle Fire 10 11th edition. Rear-facing camera, inboard microphone, and outside it's sunny but a little bit cloudy. No filter on or anything, so this is the native image coming right out of camera. No edits. Testing 1, 2, 3. Let me know what you think of the audio and what you think of this video image. Alright, now we're using the Akaso Brave 7 LE. Again, no color corrections, no modifications. This is the inboard microphone. We've got it on normal setting as far as the frame width. They do have wide and I think extra wide, but we are only using normal. This is not the most expensive camera out of the three, but it does come with the highest specs. So it'll be very interesting to see how it compares to the other three cameras. Akaso Brave 7 LE, testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're using the Fuji FinePic XP90. This is a 1080, 30 frames a second camera. This is the native image, no color correction, no modifications, and this is the inboard microphone, so no external mic, no recording it on another device and pairing them up later. This is the Fujifilm XP90. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we've seen all the different video clips of the cameras that we're comparing today. So now we have to get to the more analytical part and dissect them and get some feedback and figure out which one is actually the best. So before we do that, let's talk about this camera. Earlier, I used my Fujifilm X-S10 to do the intro, 1080, 30 frames a second with the internal mic. Now I'm using my Canon T7i, 1080p, 30 frames a second, but with external audio. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want you to be able to compare 1080 footage from a mirrorless camera, 1080 footage from a DSLR, and then internal audio and external audio. So hopefully this gives you a good baseline for your comparison when looking at these other entry-level cameras. So let's first start with the Kindle Fire. Okay, so I already know it's not designed for video or taking pictures. I got it. It only shoots in 720p, but I got to tell you, I was pretty impressed. Now, the image was oversaturated, a bit contrasty, and very soft, but with the proper lighting, it was very usable. And the audio was probably the best audio of the three. And so, being that I got it on Amazon Prime Day, I got it for $79. I checked online, it's currently selling for $149. At that price point, it is the least expensive of the three cameras. And being that it's a tablet and does more than just take pictures, that's some added value, because what I would submit to you is this. Not only can you film your vlog entry, but you could edit it and post it all in one foul swoop. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, what about an iPad? I've got an iPad, but that's not really a fair comparison, being that it can shoot at a higher resolution and comes in at a much higher price point. So not a fair comparison. These other two cameras, one is much older, and then the other one, well, it's not really, how do I put it? It's not really designed for vlogging, but a lot of people want to try and use it just like they do a GoPro. So for the Kindle, I give it 1 thumbs up for audio and a half thumb for the video. Now for the Akaso. The Akaso Brave got a lot of publicity and a lot of hype on YouTube, a lot of reviews. Great outdoors. That audio is pretty bad though. The image quality isn't bad. It's got, you know, internal stabilization, so if you're going to put it on a selfie stick, it's going to be better quality than definitely this Kindle Fire. So with that said, the image was okay, but it wasn't as good as the specs would imply. The specs are the best of the three. It does shoot 4K, but in this particular instance, it didn't look 4K. So audio, I will give it a thumbs down, and video, I'll give it a thumbs up, but only because it looks better than the Kindle Fire. Now, let's move on to the Fujifilm X-P90. It is an old camera. It only shoots 1080, 30 frames a second, doesn't shoot anything higher than that, doesn't do slow-mo or anything. And it's designed for underwater and action. So in this particular setting, it did better than I thought it would. With proper lighting, even these smaller sensors look great. The audio was 2 thumbs down. That was horrendous. You would definitely have to use an external audio source if you want to use that to vlog with. Now, if you want to use it as a run and gun kind of setup, I would assume there's some editing software that you could kind of minimize that background hiss and make it usable. But what I would do if I were going to use this camera for anything is just B-roll. If I would take this out of my pocket, I would film the B-roll, the action shots, dub some music over the top of it, be good to go. So image, half, audio, 2 thumbs down. So who's the winner? Well, when you include everything, audio, video, and the price point, and then those extras like being able to process your video and post it, I've got to go with the Kindle Fire on this one. Hard to say, but the Kindle Fire really impressed me. Now in low light, it's garbage. Don't try to take any pictures or video in low light, and don't try to move it around. It's very jittery. But if you're going to do vlog entries like this, and you're just getting started, this is the way to go. I am very impressed with the quality and the fact that you can edit these clips and post them, view them, and the mic was probably the most impressive part. It sounded like an external microphone. So without dragging this on too long, the Kindle Fire is first, the Akaso Brave is second, and then the Fujifilm X-P90 would be third. Let me know in the comments below what you think, how you had these ranked, what maybe was surprised you out of this comparison, and let me know about the two cameras that I used to do the intro and the wrap up. Let me know how this looks. Again, 1080p. Let me know how that translates on YouTube. So with that in mind, if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. And if this is the kind of content you'd like to see, because hey, it's Low Def Media and we find low-cost alternatives to your technology and fitness needs, hey, go ahead and be a subscriber. Really appreciate it. So for Mike, Low Def Media, we will see you in the next one.